Hello, welcome to All Eyes on You, the podcast documenting my descent into insanity. Today I have Pepper. That's my guest. Who are you?
I'm Nicole, hi.
Why are you here in my house?
I'm here, I work with Josh on a lot of projects. We actually just finally started collaborating on things this past fall, even though we've been talking about it for over a year now.
We have.
So it's been fun though to get into it.
And you have seen a lot of the random stuff that I've done, and now you're officially in it. So what's that been like?
I realize that I love your passion for film. I love how you want to get things done and get them done now. But I do realize sometimes I need to reel you in a conversation.
Yeah, I know.
Because you tell me you want to do 5 things, and I'm like, hey, why don't we just do one thing first so that we can say we got one thing done?
Well, yeah, I get that. But at the same time, think about how cool it would be if we did do a video game.
No, that would be cool. I think that first we should finish this podcast, though.
See, we could plan it right now, even. We could literally sit down. I can get a notebook down. We could do that. It'll be a podcast about making a video game during filming of something else.
Well, so what would it be about, though? Would it be like, what's that game that's out right now that everyone loves, Baldur's Gate?
I couldn't even comprehend that, honestly. Like, the amount of effort that goes into that kind of game.
Could you imagine if it was just a game where you just go in, like, it's just a little sort of simulation game of you as a filmmaker?
That would be terrible, because it would just be like a person sitting at a desk, broke, and then like, all right, I want to make a film, but I have no money. So you're working at a coffee shop, but then you're making a movie with like, actually that might be interesting. I think about it.
It opens their little wallet, like in those 8-bit games or whatever. It opens their little
and the
wallet,
fly comes
out.
And then you're making more money, and then you get to make more films, but then eventually you get a big Hollywood deal, but then the Hollywood deal goes downhill and then get canceled.
It could be like Kim Kardashian's Hollywood, where you get stars
games?
And then you can pay for like a bigger house, a bigger car.
Oh my god! And then eventually you just become. What's the end? What's the end goal? What is your end goal?
For life or for?
Is it the same thing?
Well, life and then professionally, they're two. I mean, I guess they go hand in hand, but as a woman in film, it's very difficult to see them as going hand in hand.
I get that.
You know, because on the one hand, one day I want a really big family, but like, will I also be able to balance that with being in the industry?
That's
because
true.
God forbid one day I want to take like a maternity leave or something,
yeah.
and I'm out of the game for like a year. Or although I have seen a lot of female directors and like producers that bring their kids on set, so that gives me some hope that
it's kind of like bringing your dog to work. That's
it's
fucked up to say
it's a
now.
little bit less like that, but I think there's sort of this flexibility that you do have in this industry versus maybe like a corporate office setting.
That's true.
So, but yeah, like professionally, I think that my goal.
The dog's moving.
That's okay.
She's on the move.
Come here, honey.
She's here so that she doesn't bark during the podcast.
That's okay. She's my emotional support animal. She knows I have anxiety too.
And now she's looking at me.
Because she can't choose.
I want her to be a set dog, actually.
I think she'd be a really good. She already is a really good set dog.
Yeah, she's great. She's very social. She loves people.
She just got so excited when she saw me.
And then she pisses everywhere.
Yeah, my only complaint to our little HR lady here is herself.
Yeah, she gets too excited.
Yeah, but she's so sweet. I think my dog would love her, but she would be terrified. She would probably cry looking at him.
Pepper is weirdly brave as a dog. She isn't afraid of anything like thunder or vacuums. She tries to play with vacuums. The only thing that I've ever found out that she's afraid of is 2 things: fart noises and one specific stick. I don't know why. There's nothing else she's afraid of.
Aww.
And it's completely random. So
she chooses the hill she's gonna die on.
I don't know. She's a very strange dog, but she's
very sweet. I like to braid her ears when
she has long hair.
I like her. Yeah, I like to braid her.
Another thing. This is a whole other tangent. We can make a podcast about dogs.
Yeah, we could make just a dog pod.
The pup cast.
Dog cast. Yeah, a pup
Did
cast.
I mention that before?
A pup cast.
I might have. We could copyright that.
Wait, but what were you asking me about
I don't
film?
remember. Something about.
My end goal with film. I don't really have
What's your end goal in life?
I don't think
What happens when you die?
I already answered that.
Well, you specifically.
When I die?
Like, what is your plan?
Well, for when I
To
die?
Yes. How do you expect to die? Because I expect to die.
I don't know.
One way's more fucked up than the other.
Every time I have a panic attack, I think I'm gonna die. So I
That's
don't know.
fair. But like, let's say ideally.
Ideally, I die of old age.
That's fair. I want to die in a bear attack.
What?
I just think it'd be kind of cool to say like.
What is with guys and like? I asked my boyfriend too how often he thinks about fighting a bear, and he said quite often. It's like the Roman Empire thing again.
Jermaine, how often do you think about fighting a bear?
Well, it's not fighting a bear; it's becoming a bear, like brother bear.
You
Okay, that's different.
you think that you're gonna become a bear? So you're the bear that I'm gonna fight to death.
Yeah.
So Jermaine,
That's
is how you're gonna
me and
die.
Jermaine are gonna fight to death. That's how I'm gonna die. Dylan, what about you? Do you ever think about fighting or becoming a bear?
More a gator person.
You're a gator guy.
I could see it.
You know what? That's fair.
A
Yeah.
gator?
I don't know what kind of animal I would want to be a penguin. I'm not a scary animal. Penguins are my favorite. That's why I have this tattoo.
Oh,
Yeah.
penguin tattoo.
Mm-hmm.
I have tattoos of non-creatures. They're just knives and aliens, which...
He doesn't even believe it.
I like them. We have a similar style of
Who
just
said I don't believe in
patchwork.
aliens?
You don't believe in aliens?
No, I do believe in aliens. What is he? Why are you gaslighting me?
I've been watching a lot of X-Files. So good.
I've
Oh
never
my
actually
god.
seen
I've been watching
X-Files.
it from the beginning. Oh, I love it. I'm just waiting for them to make out.
Do they?
Yes, eventually. Well, spoiler.
What is-
Spoiler, but it's like a 30-year-old show, so if you haven't seen it by now.
Yeah, but like, is there real life X-Files?
Oh, I think for sure.
Because then why am I not hired for that? I
I don't know.
that.
I was honestly thinking, I'm like, how do I just like, I'm like, if the film thing doesn't work out, I kind of just want to like, no, I was like, I want to become a security guard at one of
Wait.
those like, at one of those like at like
Oh, like a skunk's workout.
at like
person?
Area 51 or something. Just become a security
See-
officer, because then I'll know that there's
I
like
have a
shit going
new
on there, you know?
business proposition. What if we open up our own X-Files company
Mm-hmm.
for no other reason than just to do it and make up everything? It's just Ghost Hunters, the same. We can
I
make a
think-
show about it.
I think,
Aliens already beats you for that.
yeah.
And I'll
There's
beat
ancient
them
aliens.
again. When's the last time they uploaded something?
About yesterday.
Fuck. Okay.
They still update that show.
Yeah.
Well, think of it this way. SCPs. The internet has aliens. You ever think about that, actually? The fact that there's internet aliens now?
I think we all live in a simulation. And that,
I mean, we do.
Yeah.
That's like one of my fears, like waking up one day where I was just going to be like, oh, it was all not real. And then like at the end of the day, what do you do?
I'm like convinced it's a simulation, because otherwise, why would someone make me this anxious?
That's fair. It's probably, it's just like malfunction in your programming. It's
I
just
think
like,
they're just
this is
testing
broken.
out. I think they're just testing out like the limits of humanity. They're like, how anxious can
Yeah.
you make someone until it's
Ever seen Osmosis Jones?
Yes.
Osmosis
Oh my God, I
Jones
love
is like one of my
Osmosis
favorites.
Jones.
Versus that.
oh
We are
yeah.
all inside of just a dude.
That
We're
we're inside of a dude.
It's
Mm-hmm.
something.
Jermaine wants to be inside of a dude and turn into a bear.
Yeah, take that out of context.
What else do you
That's a
want,
clip.
Jermaine? You're off camera for this too, and you're talking more.
Sorry.
So what were we were talking about inspiration for film?
No, we weren't.
No,
but sure, if you
but
want to talk about
we
that,
should we should talk about that.
go ahead.
Well, I was asking you, what was your
What am mine?
Yeah, what's your inspiration?
Well, it started off with. See, my history is weird because I didn't technically watch movies for a long time. I didn't care about movies. I cared about, like, what did I fucking care about? Hold on.
Nothing.
Because I would fall asleep during most movies. I would just refuse to watch most movies as a kid. And then suddenly I just remember being obsessed with YouTube. And then because of YouTube, I got into movies. And then eventually, somewhere down the line, I started making Lego videos. That was like the start.
There's a fan base for that.
I know, and it's hilarious because sometimes I still find myself... I've been on Bionicle YouTube by accident.
Bionicle.
Yeah, it's really weirdly interesting, and it's kind of addicting. It's just,
Wait,
I don't know
what-
what it is.
What is it
You don't know
about?
what Bionicle is?
No.
Oh my god. Okay, so You know Legos, right?
Yes.
So Lego had like a teen line called Bionicle. And they weren't sets in the sense of like I guess scenes or whatever. They were action figures that you built that were like different colors and different elements and whatnot, and they all had their own like little world, and it was really weird because they'd have this really intense commercial with like a big voiceover guy going Bionicle and go save the mask of whatever the hell and do this and that, and then that was for some reason the coolest thing for every teenage boy at the time, and then they stopped making it, and I don't know why, but I've been watching videos of people building them again, and it's just interesting because I remember that. And I remember it's a lot cooler as a kid. Why am I talking about this?
Because I asked what your
Right,
inspiration
Legos.
to get into
Right.
film, and it's Lego. Your
Partly,
inspiration
yes.
for filmmaking is Lego. Yes.
At a time it was, but
I'm not
then
gonna lie though. Before I started watching anime, I watched Lego shows.
It's the same
Lego
thing.
TV shows first, like Lego. What was it called? Masters of Ninja.
Ninjago.
Yeah,
I've seen Ninjago too on
That
my
I
feed
loved.
again, and it's really weird.
I love that.
because
And then a year after that, I started watching anime. So I call that my transition period.
it's the same thing if you think about it. Like Ninjago and just Legos in general are just kind of, they're just easy anime.
That's what I feel. Right?
They
Isn't
really
that
are.
weird?
Like I'm thinking
Yeah.
about it more. Like they have so many of the key points, and they're so dramatic, but they're still like not doing the intense
like a
stuff
slightly
about
strange animation style.
Yeah,
and then-
it's kind of like there was something else that was considered like anime that's not anime.
Code Lyoko.
I don't know what that
Oh my
is actually. What
God.
is that?
I remember that. It's where they like went into a computer or something, right? They, like,
Cyber
went into-
Chase.
It was like Cyber Chase, but that's different. Like no, Code Lyoko was like they put. I don't know these kids. It was a group of kids that had.
animated kids.
Wait, was that the kids with the big heads?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you know.
That's all I
Yeah.
remember. Is they had big heads, and I would just stare and like I can't do this.
Yeah, I loved that show. That was
Legos
a good
are an
show.
inspiration. Code what is it?
Lyoko.
Lyoko?
Code Lyoko.
Yeah, no, not at all actually.
Mm-hmm.
But if for me, it's literally just VGHS, which is a video game high school YouTube series by Rocket Jump. I've talked about it before, but that inspired me because it was YouTube. That was a film company that was self-made, and I was like, wait, that's a job? People can do that? And that's how I got started. And then, yeah, but what inspired you?
I was gonna say because that's interesting that like your inspiration wasn't so much film, but like YouTube stuff. Because mine was more television than film. Because a lot of the films that I watched growing up were films either that like, you know, like kids films that my sister and I wanted to watch, or like movies my mom put on.
I think part of my problem with that was that I grew up watching sci-fi shows that were a bit more like, you know, fantastical, and I didn't know that was something you could really do, so it didn't really like you know, click with me at all until I saw like indie movies, and I was like, wait, someone just had a camera and they made that? So it's just, I don't know, it's funny.
Like I loved like watching like Lilo and Stitch and
I
Kim
did love
Possible
They're
and
making
like
a live action one.
which one?
Lilo and Stitch.
No, the animated one.
No, they're making a live action
They're
one.
making a live
They're
action.
making a live
one?
action one.
Oh, I do know that.
I don't know how I feel
don't-
about it.
I don't know because they just made. I mean, they just made that live action. They just made live
Lion
action
King.
One Piece, and it looked
Oh, yeah.
really good.
I haven't. Well, I'm not. Don't get Jermaine started on this, but like, I haven't seen any One Piece. Jermaine loves
You've
One
never
Piece.
seen One Piece?
No, it's too long, and I have too much stuff to do.
It's
Long. It's not long at all.
How many
it's
episodes
always
is
gonna,
it?
It's infinite.
How many
It's
episodes is
infinite.
it?
Bro, it's the piece.
Name how many episodes there are.
It's not too long if you spend the rest of your life watching it.
I knew someone who literally started One Piece and watched it every single day to catch up, and he was watching, I think, like along lines of like maybe 8 to 12 hours every single day, and it took him, I think, 3 to 5 months to catch up, and I was
Really?
like, I don't have that kind of time.
See, I can easily binge watch like long animes. I do like short ones though, like when it's like a 10 episode like anime that wraps itself up like at the end and it doesn't have a second season. I do like those too. Like there was one I watched called Erased or something.
That's on
Do you
my
remember?
list. I want to see
Yeah,
it.
you gotta watch it.
There's-
It's really good. It's like I cried so hard at the end. It was very emotional.
Is Erased the one that I'm thinking? No, that's Monster.
It's the one with the Erased is the one with the kids and
The one
time
with the
travel.
kids.
time travel.
Tokyo Revengers.
What?
Tokyo Revengers is another anime with time travel and kids, and it's weird. And I'm like, I don't remember how far I got into it, but it's a whole plot is about this guy who's in his like early 20s who like just thinks about his preteen years when he was in a gang, and he like almost dies and gets sent back in time to his childhood body, and he's like, I can save my girlfriend at the time.
That's the thing I'm talking about. That's erased.
That's not erased.
That is
Tokyo
called
Revengers.
Erased. Okay, then maybe there's two animes that have the exact same
That's
plot.
so weird.
Because that's literally what Erased
Are they
is
the
about.
same?
There's quite a few animes. That
There's really?
Yeah.
Okay, but
Because that's literally what it.
do people
what it
think
is.
about that, going in time to middle school you to like relive your?
It's like the romance thing too,
Yeah, but
about
that's kind of
like.
weird if you think about it.
I mean,
Like being a 22-year-old in a 13-year-old body to pursue another 13-year-old.
yeah,
I'm just saying.
yeah.
Yeah, it's not as bad as something reincarnation. The dude gets reincarnated into a whole fantasy world.
Uh-huh.
He's a grown man trying to get with like minors.
I think that's
Ew.
just
the body of like a child.
Ew.
It's so weird.
that's just like anime for some reason.
I think ew.
I mean that was like my problem with Sword Art Online.
Okay, I was literally about to say that because remember when they got married and had a baby?
Yes, I was okay. At the time, I was young. I was like around the age, so I was like, "Oh, that's cute." But then now I'm like, "Wait, hold up a second,"
Yeah.
because like, there's so much that's weird about that anime. I remember the first half of the season. I was like, "This is so cool," and then it gets into the romance bit. And it's like, okay, and then there's so many parts where you're like, "All right, hold on," because like they're like a whole friend group, but then all the women are into him. One of them's his sister. The only other guys are like in their late 20s. And it's just like, why exactly?
Yeah, I don't think I finished Sword Art Online because I just got.
It's still going
confused.
actually, because
Is
like
it?
the last I watched was Gun Gale Online, where like he went into a game because he was like undercover, and then it was funny because his avatar was like feminine looking, so he looked like a girl, and then everyone was like flirting with him, and it's weird. Anime's weird, but it's good. It's weird good, like Saltburn, which I talked about every single time.
I haven't seen Saltburn yet.
Oh.
I've seen all the memes about Saltburn though, but I haven't seen.
Well,
seen it
you
yet.
need to.
I
'cause
know.
I've talked about it a lot, and I don't think either of them have seen it either.
I've seen it.
Dylan's seen it?
Saltburn watch party.
3 words. Horny, spooky, weird.
Horny, spooky, weird. Yes, it is. It is perfect, and it's everything now, and it's now my inspiration for everything I do going forward. And
That's a
Hold on
weird
a second.
inspiration to take.
I'm starting to realize. You know what? You ever think about how many shows are about children fighting?
Yeah.
Avatar.
Yeah. Avatar, Teen Titans,
Show.
Codename Kids Next Door. What?
I feel like the only one that I can think of that has like a realistic version of like what kids would actually do, teenagers would do, is like Yellow Jackets, which I don't know if anyone has seen. Have you seen?
No, I've seen Yellow Jackets.
Yellow Jackets I
Yeah.
liked because I was like,
That's what
makes
kids
sense.
would
This is
do?
what I think that's what they would do.
That's
Just
what.
argue about a lot of dumb stuff for one.
Okay, and then the second part, cannibalism.
I mean,
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Shared trauma.
yeah, because like cannibalism. Never mind.
Lord of the Flies.
Well, I'm just saying, cannibalism's weird because it's one of those things where like
Did you know octopi
Octopi?
cannibalize each other?
yes, so, like,
I didn't know
every
that.
species does. Monkeys do.
Apparently
which is weird.
chickens can
Yeah,
eat
which
chicken.
freaks me out because
Yeah.
it's like they don't eat meat necessarily.
Mm-hmm.
Pigs eat anything.
Mm-hmm.
Which is weird. Like if you ever think about it, cannibalism. What do you think of cannibalism? I'm talking to anyone. The cannibals in the audience. Oh, never
The
mind.
cannibals in the audience. Shout yourselves out below.
Yeah, are you a cannibal? Let us know. Who'd you eat? Who was your first meal?
Or who would you eat? Dead or
Who
alive?
would you eat if you had the choice?
Mm.
I have a whole thing about this.
Okay, we're getting into some Army Hammer territory.
Oh God, I forgot about he did that.
Yeah, he did that. Army Hammer
Look, I
did
saw
that.
the text and it's weird. What kind of name's Army Hammer?
A guy who cannibal.
It's just weird. Army Hammer. Army Hammer. It's like, do you need your name to be Manly Boy or something like that?
He's
It
like
just doesn't make sense.
he's like anti-Hercules.
It's just weird. Anyways, So actually, he's on par with what I mean. So
Oh God.
muscle is meat, right?
Yeah.
So technically, someone who's like a bodybuilder has more meat,
Mm-hmm.
right? So wouldn't they be better to
No, a
eat?
bodybuilder has but a bodybuilder has muscle.
Yeah, and
You don't
muscle when
wanna
you
eat
cook it is
muscle.
meat.
No, but muscle's really tough. You want something chewy. You want fat.
Yeah, but fat just gets
You'd
cooked
want
down
like
and
no,
like rendered.
you'd want like
This is gonna put
Michael
us on a
Moore.
list.
You'd want to eat like Michael Moore.
Didn't he die?
Is Michael Moore dead?
Isn't he dead?
No, Michael Moore's
Is he
alive.
dead?
He made a documentary
Oh, shit.
like 3
I
years
thought he
ago.
died.
You talking about Trevor Moore?
No, Michael Moore, the director.
Who's that?
Dead. Trevor Moore?
Who's that?
You don't know Michael Moore?
I know who Michael Moore is, but who's Trevor Moore?
Trevor Moore was a, you know how Lil Dicky makes like parody music?
Yeah.
Trevor Moore was the first person, like kind of the first person to make
But
that
no,
popular.
Weird Al
Oh,
Yankovic
really?
was the first one who made parody music.
Wait. Yeah, back in the
Look up
like.
Trevor Moore, look up My Computer Came Alive. Or My Computer Became Sentient. It's hilarious.
I'll have to look that up then because I have no idea what you're talking about. Anyways, cannibalism. What were we talking about?
We were talking about how Lego inspires you in film.
And now we're talking about cannibalism.
Yeah. I was just going to say about what inspires me because I started talking about
Dude,
television. So, like, television shows inspired me
Yes.
to get into film because I liked watching a lot of cartoons. And actually, I originally wanted to do voice acting because
Really?
I didn't know you could get I was like 10 or 11. I didn't know you could get other jobs like writing for the shows and stuff. Like, I didn't know that was a
So
profession.
you thought they were just talking?
Well, I don't know.
Where did
I
it
was a
come
kid.
from?
I don't know. I knew it was like I knew it was like, you know, there's a script and everything, but I thought,
Uh.
oh, that's a really hard job to get. There's like 5 people that have that job or something. Because I was like a
weird.
kid, so I was like, oh, but like there's so many voice actors, and you know, like I like Tara Strong and like
She's everywhere.
and yeah, she's literally everywhere. But
She runs Nickelodeon.
she
no,
runs
does.
every
She li-
network.
and
she
she's-
just shows up anywhere, and you're like, oh, there she is.
I love her. She's mommy. But yeah, so I wanted to do voice acting originally. So I actually had a voice acting coach for like a year.
Oh.
And I recorded some stuff, but I was like 12. He worked with adults. So it's like, you know, it was,
So it was a bit
kind of,
awkward.
it was a bit awkward because
Okay.
he worked with mostly adults and I still had like a changing voice. Like my voice was like up here or whatever. So then it's like,
Well, when is like the best age to get into voice
I think
acting
probably
even?
after your voice settles
Like, is it
in
after puberty?
I mean, the thing is, the kid who played Aang was a
Yeah, that- he
child.
was-
So I mean, like,
That's
I don't
why it
think.
was good.
Yeah, so I mean, I think it's either when they're still children,
Yeah.
but like definitely avoid that transitional period of
'Cause
like
I know
puberty
the
because then it
voice
gets
actor
kind
for
of tough.
Toph also was a kid.
Yeah,
but I know
yeah.
that Zuko wasn't, and I don't think
Mm-mm.
that Sokka or Katara were.
No,
were
no,
they?
no.
So now
Good example of voice actors aging.
Mhm.
Amazing World of Gumball.
they've had to change them so many
Yeah.
times.
Darwin was the only one.
Oh,
that changed
oh
his
yeah.
No,
Uh-huh.
they were both changed a bunch of times.
Mhm.
Really?
Yeah, like I watched. I saw it on TikTok. There's so many different voice actors for them because every time they started changing their voice, they would just change the voice actor, and they would always make it an in-episode thing.
Did
where
you-
it's like, oh,
Yeah. Okay.
Wait,
I remember now.
sorry, I was gonna say, do you guys watch Rick and Morty? And so you know how they
I haven't
and
watched the new season. 'Cause
the new
I-
season. So okay, so here's the thing. I was worried that when who is it, Justin Roiland?
Yeah.
I was worried that when he, you know, was departed from the show,
Mhm.
that it was going to be, because I also watched a spin-off, or not a spin-off series, but
Was
a
it
second series
Solar
they had,
Opposites?
Solar
I had
Opposites,
to watch
and
that.
they did such a funny thing where they
Yeah,
just
where
made him
the
British.
voice changer.
But they
and
were
it's
like,
just
I've always sounded like that. And honestly, it makes more sense to me that he's
Yeah.
British. Yeah, now that I watch it. But like, I think I started watching the new season. It's season 6 or something. And I started watching it in the first episode. I'm sitting there and I'm listening to it and I pause and then I go back and I'm like, I can hear it slightly that it's a little bit different and that it's new voice actors. But honestly, it's so close that I don't really mind.
I've only seen clips, but it sounds like Morty's voice is like almost spot on. But then like with Rick's, apparently you can tell when he's yelling.
It's a little.
I've heard.
My thing is, I think it sounded like a little flatter. Like it's definitely got. It's because it's like, you know, someone impersonating
Yeah.
that voice. I think it's hard maybe to get that sort of like that depth in the voice that he has. I know she's so cute, just napping.
I was also just thinking about how many controversial topics you already brought up.
I know.
Cannibalism, Justin Roiland.
Anime, cannibalism, and voice acting.
Put those all in the
That's the
voice
name of the
acting.
title. I don't know.
Put that all in the title. That's gonna be great. Put that all.
But
in there.
but anyway, to try and pivot the conversation a little back to film, basically,
What's your most controversial opinion?
my most controversial opinion
Yes.
ever
On film.
on filmmaking?
Oh yeah,
Okay,
actually,
yeah.
stay on brand.
Let's stay on brand. My
Before we
most
get
controversial opinion in filmmaking, I think, is that I don't think this is a controversial opinion, but this is just a strong opinion that I have, is that when women, when we're on set with when we're on a very male dominated set, we like code switch our personalities.
Oh.
Like when I'm on a very, especially if I'm on a very white male set, I do code switch to be like, I'll like deepen my voice. I'm like, ha, that's funny. Or I'll be like, watch this, like, you know, whatever. Because I feel like if I'm just being myself, then, and it happens regardless, where I won't be listened to. Even if I am sort of code switching myself as a woman, I'll still be fighting to get an opinion. And look, I'll be surrounded by like, you know, an assistant director, the director, and like two other men on the crew. And I'll be like, oh, like I have an idea that might be a good suggestion. And I'll be trying to give my input, and they're just talking amongst each other. And then I suggest it, and they're like, oh, thank you. That was actually a good idea. And then they like will run with it. But it's like, it feels like it was so hard to sort of just like, I just want to help. I just want to help move production along. That's all I want. That's what gives me joy. And that's like why I love doing filmmaking, is because I love helping people achieve the look that they're like going for and creating a product that they're happy with, like a final product, a video product that they're happy with. And so it's just kind of frustrating sometimes when you're just all you're trying to do is help, but you're being like undermined because of, you know, your sex.
See, I have like a similar, it's not the exact same, of course, experience with like when I was doing videography, because what would happen is, you know, I would be communicating with these businesses or individuals and they'd want something, and I have a very professional looking business, but I do not look professional because I look pretty young. I have tattoos, piercings, and stuff like that. So oftentimes what would happen is I would be on a phone call and I will be speaking very properly, and then when they see me in person, they always go, oh, okay. And then they always make like a little comment, and they always say, oh, you're very professional. And I was like, I know that's supposed to be a compliment, but that feels a bit more like you don't really think I am.
I think that's another thing about being our age in this industry. It's like I've noticed it since I started freelancing, which was almost 3 years ago now. Is
I think we started around the same time then.
Yeah, like August 2021 ish.
Yeah.
So I was 21 at the time, and I feel like I also just have a very young looking face sometimes. But so I feel like people can, because I think I speak as professionally as I can when I'm, you know, in a meeting or in an interview or, you know, on set. On set you get a little lax when you like, you know, get to know people. But for the most part, I try to stay as professional as possible when I'm talking. And so I think I think despite that, though, it's like just the way I look sometimes can make people not take me as seriously. Yeah. So I kind of get where you're coming from with that.
I get it. Because anytime I'm like on a set and I'm like the one in charge, and especially if there's people older than me around, like everyone usually expects like anyone else to be in charge. And then it's like, oh, the skinny, scrawny guy in the back who's in the corner is the one in charge.
Well, I think it's because also there's still this hierarchy that like, because while our generation is coming into filmmaking, there's still an older generation that sort of runs filmmaking that believes in that hierarchy structure.
Like
I've
specific.
I've met and worked with a lot of superiors who tell me like, you know, oh, come on as this role. I want to show you this. Let me teach you that. Because they don't want to. I've had people tell me straight up they don't want to gatekeep the industry like the way they don't think it's fair that you have to start as just getting coffee for like the first 2 years.
I have a whole rant about that.
Yeah. And I mean, I've done that before. I've been a PA where I literally have had experiences where the director will come up to me and be like, hi, you're a PA, right? And I'm like, yes. And they're like, oh, can you run out and get me this specific kind of tea? And then I have to go and I call Starbucks and I'm like, do you have this kind of tea? And they're like, no, we don't have that kind of tea. And so then I have to run to CVS because this director is like a big, you know, whatever. And so then it's like, oh, like, okay, now I have to run to CVS and get them this kind of tea. And then also now someone has to bring their own tea thing from their house to warm up the tea for this person, and it's just kind of like
all for just
like the
one person.
But
I have a whole thing about that because like, so we started around the same time, but we went 2 different routes with it.
Yeah.
Because,
because I was still in film school too.
yeah, I was going to school and I stopped going because I finished my film class and all I wanted to do was make stuff. And then I started doing, PA work and stuff like that. And I was like, I'm too impatient to do this for people. So I just immediately started doing anything where I could like, do it all like myself and learn everything. But my whole rant is the whole fact of like, it used to be like back in the day, you worked as a PA and you went up.
Yeah.
And then like, as like time went on, it kind of been like, they still say that, but you get stuck in that same position.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the thing is, I was lucky enough to have a friend, a filmmaker. We're not saying names on this, right?
If you have good feelings
this is a
with
good
them.
shout out.
Okay, then yeah, that's fine.
No, so I have a friend who's a filmmaker. His name is Adam Chwar, and he's a Jersey-based filmmaker who does work in like Philly and Jersey and New York. But he actually asked me to come on his senior thesis.
Yeah.
And he asked me what I wanted to do. And at the time, I was really interested in script supervising. So I started to script supervise. Now that's basically all I've been doing for like the last year and a half is script supervising. And I've even gotten paid gigs from it.
Yeah.
I do a lot of volunteer gigs from it just to keep, keep that work going, keep myself in that mindset. And it's like, I love script supervising, but yeah, I totally get what you mean about people kind of can get stuck because I mean, I still do PA work and I'm not mad about it. Like I love PAing now and then because it's honestly less stuff you have to worry about and be in charge of.
You're still like on set, you still get to experience everything,
yeah,
which is
you
nice.
still get to. My whole thing is, like I said, I love just being there to lend a helping hand and support people in completing a project. Yeah, and just have that camaraderie of like, wow, we did something creative together and it looks great and we love it and we're really happy with it and we hope other people love it. But yeah, it's definitely something that I feel like I love script supervising and I wouldn't mind if I keep doing it, but I definitely don't want it to be the only thing that I do. Like I want to do more. Like I want to do.
You want the chance to like try out everything and see what like really sticks.
Exactly. Because I know so far that I'm good at script supervising. I love making. I even know that I love doing like script writing for social media content and short form content. But
okay, I'll keep that in mind for our stuff.
Yeah, but.
Okay, this is the last question. What's like a role or position that you haven't done that you want to do? That you've been afraid of or, just...
directing.
Really?
Yeah, I'm not so much afraid of directing. I'm not...
She's eating your hand.
I know. It's because she can taste the cocoa pebbles I had earlier.
Oh my
seeping
gosh.
through my fingers. But I think I would say directing is probably something that not so much scares me, but I think it's just something that I don't gravitate towards as a filmmaker. Like, I feel like everyone writes their script and then they want to direct it.
They always want to direct it.
But the thing is, I would rather hand it off to, like, you or something. Because I feel like I don't have that. I personally think I have a problem with taking what I see in my head and putting it out there. And I think that I can be a perfectionist. And so... I feel like it'll just, if I can just hand over, if I just handed over a script to you and just say you have creative control of it, that would be, I would trust you enough to like complete the vision that the script has, Yeah. Because I think that I have a hard time, like, especially because I'm still learning a lot of, because I did more production stuff than technical camera work for most of my freelancing. So doing mostly production stuff and not doing technical technical camera work. Yeah. I feel like I don't have those skills as of right now to sort of translate what's in my head and take it out and show it on like camera.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I get the perfectionist part.
But I would love to try directing at some point just to like, because I mean it sounds cool to like write a script and then be like, oh, I directed it too. But like, I don't know. It's not really like something that I need to do.
I get that.
Yeah. But what about you? What do you want to do that you've never done? I feel like you've done a
I
lot.
kinda
You've done everything.
Because like I said, after I like stopped going to school, instead of like, because I did go on sets a lot, but I would just do every position I could and learn it so that I could better direct, actually, just so I could explain it. Because it's like, all right, I understand that I want this specific lighting, so I understood how to do it myself, so I can teach someone else to do it. Or like, I want this specific camera motion because it translates to this. So, you know, I taught Jermaine like a lot of the camera and lighting stuff so that I can tell him, or not even tell him. Most of the time, he's just like on the same wavelength now because of how I communicate it.
Yep.
But it took a long time to get there, and like, I feel like one of the best ways to learn is like to, you know, learn it yourself and then teach it to someone else.
Yeah.
Which is why I really love doing. Which is why Pepper wants to say something on the mic. Apparently, what do you want to say?
Pepper, talk your shit.
Don't look at me. You're the one who wanted this.
She did snort really loud when she was in my lap at one point.
Well, yeah, the best way to learn is to teach, and
Yeah.
I just love doing that.
And to just try too.
Exactly. So that's why I'm always like, anytime I work with somebody, I always ask them their top 3 roles that they've done and roles that they would like to do. Because if I can see that they might have like traits or qualities that might translate into it, I'm like, you should try that. Here's how you should do it. And then just see how they do. Because I've done that with people plenty. Like Dylan, for example. I think originally Dylan was only doing PA. And then I was like, I need someone for audio. And you're a singer. That's somewhat like audio. So I just had him learn it. And he kind of picked it up. And it's just like that.
And you never know what you're going to be really good at until you try. Yeah.
Which is why I like to say that people should try everything. Because I know in everyone's mind there was like, oh, when I go in the industry, I want to be this specific thing. I want to be this director. I want to be this or that.
I think the problem with that mentality though is that then you don't know what you don't try the things that you actually will end up being good at.
Exactly.
And then you're kind of stuck in this cycle of like, you know, unfortunately being like a 40, 50-year-old filmmaker who's not where you want to be. Not saying like, you know, you're not making like like money or movies that, but like you're possibly not in a place where like you're happy with what you're making.
I feel like a lot of directors, when they like start out like fresh out of college, or even just like if they don't go to college they do it, is a lot of them refuse to do any crew work. I've noticed where like they don't interact with crew really. They only want to interact with talent, and because they only want to interact with talent, they don't know how to communicate their ideas at all.
Yeah.
And it's all this, you know, abstract idea that has nothing to do with like any technical stuff. So then what ends up happening is, because they don't interact with the crew, they can get their really perfect cast going and maybe even like really great set design or costuming, but then they just set up a camera on a tripod and they're done.
Yeah.
The in-camera microphone or whatever, and it's like,
it doesn't matter if you have an A-list cast if you can't communicate with your crew.
Yeah, exactly. And it's all like several parts all together, and it's all about learning and getting out of your comfort zone a little bit.
Yeah.
I think Pepper's getting antsy now.
Yeah.
And with that being said, thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Yeah, get out.
Okay. Bye.
Pepper, come here. Come on. No, don't go with her. No, don't go with her. Why are you leaving? I raised you. That's so mean.